But what I don't like is being told the things that I like are garbage because they weren't of the same class. And to me, that's just like, okay, cool, that's going to break and cost $1 million to fix. Whoa, that was almost a wreck. Oh my gosh. Say it with me, for we walk by faith, not by sight. Hey guys, it's John with Cheap Old Cars and Culture. Let's get into a problem I have with some car YouTubers, okay? We're out in the V6 Mustang. First off, just go ahead and get that out of the way. This car doesn't get driven much, and I just put the new springs on it and stuff. I want to get a feel for it as it is right now before I change the shocks and struts and maybe change up sway bars. I don't want to compromise ride quality too much, which is why I went with 500-pound front springs instead of 600 or 650-pound front springs. I have this problem with car YouTubers. I have this problem with certain cars. Even though I like these guys and I watch them quite often, Tyler Hoover and Doug DeMuro, okay? They're kind of big in that YouTube car scene stuff. I'm not a Whistling Diesel fan. I don't like destroying things just to destroy things, and I'm not a big drama guy, although I know drama would definitely push views and help with channel content and stuff, and I do a little bit clickbaity titles sometimes, but yeah, I'm not the drama guy. I mean, I'm gonna give Hoovy a bit of a pass because he has been fully open about the fact that a lot of European cars are just basically garbage past 80,000 miles or so, but it makes for good content on the channel, and I get that. But there's a point to where it's kind of like, why keep buying these things if they're just garbage? Like, oh wow, this particular car is 80% down from its original value in just 10 years. Yeah, it's because it's a piece of junk and it might look cool, but that's it. It looks cool. That's it. It might drive nice a couple times, but it's going to break again. The parts are going to be ridiculously expensive and hard to find, and I kind of just don't see the point. There are cars where it kind of does make sense, like the Aston Martin that Hoovy has, that I think Tavares had before him, and maybe someone else too in their group. That's a cool car. That's a really cool car. It's fun and all that thing, but it kind of does follow the same stuff. If you take it out and actually try to use it and drive it, it's just going to break, and it's going to be almost impossible to repair. But people get, I'm gonna get into this other side, people get this big following behind these cars. I was watching the Cars and Bids channel the other day, and they were doing the fastest car at 10,000, 25,000, 50,000. 50,000, I'm out. Like, I've never bought a car. I think the most expensive car I've ever purchased, $21,000. Any more expensive than that, and I'm 20-something thousand dollars. I'm kind of out. It's cheap old cars, right? So that's what we do, is the cheap old stuff. But they're talking about the best car, fastest top speed of a car under $10,000, not modded, stock form. And one guy's like this certain year E55 AMG, and he's just a Mercedes fanboy and all this stuff, and it's electronically limited to 155, but it'll do it every time and all. And I'm sitting here going, that car is going to break constantly. It's going to be a nightmare to repair. The reason they're cheap is because no one wants them. No one wants them, right? Now, yes, there's a small group of people that want them, and oh, that's the coolest thing ever. Guys, the answer is C5 Corvette. They'll run in the 170s, right? Now, why are C5 Corvettes cheap? It's not because no one wants them. It's because there's a lot of them. Is this car really just pulling right out in front of me? Wow. They just pulled right out in front of me and then went 15. This red Mustang gets that constantly. You try to drive this car, and people just, the other Mustangs, the green one, the blue ones, no, it doesn't happen. People will wait for you to go by. This red one, they'll just pull out in front of you. If that same car, if there were way less of them, it's a good, reliable car. There are things that go wrong with them. There's things that go wrong with every car at 100,000 miles. These Mustangs have their issues around 100,000 miles. There's a few pulleys on the front of the engine. The water pump might be ready to go out or something. I don't know if this one's ever gone out. Alternator, we've had to replace the alternator on this car and all the other cars, basically. All that stuff's like $200 or $300. And you can do it in your day, in a day in your garage. It's not hard to do. If you got the similar stuff on a Mercedes or BMW, it's thousands of dollars and not super easy to do because it's of how they're built and how they're assembled. there's Mercedes dealers on each side of the town, and a couple BMW dealers, and there's an Audi over there, and you know, all the different things, right? And so you get used to this stuff, and the parts are more easy for you to get. For most people though, like, that's just not to say most people, for most people that live in the areas that I live and outside of cities, that stuff's not attainable. Like, there's a Volkswagen dealership in town, and I wouldn't go to them because I don't trust them for anything. It is very much, I like these cars because they were, you know, around and cool when I was a kid type stuff, but they're garbage. Soft touch this and leather wrap dashes, and then they get in the car like I'm driving, and it's just like, ew, what is this? What is this, plastic? Ew, gross. And I'm like, hey man, let's compare them in 20 years, right? This plastic is just fine. I've kept it conditioned, and I've kept it out of the sun a lot, as much as possible, and it's fine, and it's not going to crack or be brittle or anything. I know I'm not going to whang my hand on it because it is 20-something-year-old plastic, but as long as I don't treat it like crap, it's going to be fine. And that leather you have in your car, it's pulling up at the edges, it's shrinking, it's fading over time and different things. Those cars, I'm sorry, they're just not as good, right? Like, if you got an E46 M3, you got rod bearing issues. Cool, if I have a Mach 1, I have no rod bearing issues, right? The car cost me less to begin with, and I can make a Mach 1 handle as good as an E46 M3. Maybe not in terms of like that mystical like driver feel, oh, it just feels amazing, but in actual numbers, I can make a Mach 1 handle as good as an E46 M3 for not that much money, and definitely less than the difference in the amount of the prices between two similar miles and condition cars. So I'm going to call myself a cheap car expert to a degree, right? But I'd like to see people that have some say in these things that didn't grow up with a BMW dealership in town, that didn't grow up with a Mercedes on every corner of the neighborhood. What was that Chrysler Frank Sinatra, whatever that was. Why? Like, I watch the videos, the guy's entertaining, he's fun to watch. My wife loves April, so we always watch April's Garage. My wife will put that phone down and she will watch April's Garage, and that's really cool. My wife's into cars too, but not as much as me, but she likes cars. This is her car I'm driving. We like them, they're entertaining, and I'll watch the videos even if I don't like the car, but I'm just sitting here looking at that car going, I get it, that's a cool thing, I get, but why? But what I don't like is being told the things that I like are garbage because they didn't come from the same world. I think that's a good way to put it. They didn't come from the same world, and they weren't of the same class of those guys' things. So nicer seats with horsehair and leather dashes and all that stuff. And to me, that's just like, okay, cool, that's going to break and cost $1 million to fix. That, you know, even if it costs $5,000 to fix, that's out of the realm of reasonable for me. So it might as well be $1 million. Check out the merch page. It's on Shopify. The link will be in my bio, and in the video description. The merch is awesome. It's on Gildan Drywick shirts, and so they're good to wear when you're like getting sweaty and stuff because it pulls the water off of you. I like them a lot. So I'm gonna go this way. Whoa, that was almost a wreck. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, that was really frustrating. The road I was on went around the left corner, okay? And at that left corner, there's two other roads that come to it. So it's almost a four-way intersection, but not really, okay? Because the main road I'm on makes the left. There's a car coming up towards me, straight on towards me, and there's a car coming down from the road on the right. I'm not even to the corner yet. That car already started to pull out and make a left turn and was already in my lane. The whole front of their car was in my lane. And then, so even if I was just coming up to make the left corner, they were in my lane. I would have had to cut down across the yellow line to avoid that. And so then I put my blinker on and I start to go, and they start pulling out as I'm almost to them, too late to hit the brakes. So I had to swerve into the oncoming lane, and the car coming towards me, thankfully they were a little further back. They hit their brakes really hard and stopped. And so then I could go and then cut back in front of them to get back in my, that was too close, guys. I have just watched That Dude in Blue's I guess, a little talking at his desk like I'm doing here, right? He's got a better background than I do. But I've been just watching his video right here, how Hollywood killed the car culture movie. First, he's partially right. He's a little bit wrong. I'm going to tag him in this. I hope he sees it, honestly, because it's not Hollywood that killed car culture. It's these stupid things, right? So, car culture came about because we wanted to get freedom from our parents and get out and go explore and find our own way and all the things. Okay, what we've run into now, though, is everyone's connected and at home, and kids aren't playing with toys anymore. Toy sales are focused on adults, right? And they're not wanting to drive. There's 20-something-year-old kids that, I say kids because they're in a perpetual state of childhood. They're not becoming adults as they should be. But there's 20-something-year-old kids that don't drive. And if the basic, if the American zeitgeist, kind of the culture of the country, is that, well, you're connected to everybody and there's no need to go drive, there's not an allure and there's not a mystical thing about getting out and driving, right? And so it's not going to be there. So what happens is it's not that Hollywood killed it. Hollywood had to focus on the we talked about like the Fast and Furious movies. They end up going to space, which is just stupid. Hollywood had to focus on the action and one-upping and bigger things, because the basic allure of going out and street racing or going out and hanging out with your friends to be free of the home structure, which is kind of that breaking free and becoming an adult in your teenage years that we used to do, that stopped in our culture. It doesn't really happen much anymore. And that's why car movies are dying. That is the main reason behind why car movies changed. Now, F1, I haven't seen yet. I really want to see that. I've heard it's good. Ford versus Ferrari was okay, right? There's a better story to be told there in the GT classes with the Cobra Daytona Coupe. And Peter Brock designing that car, and they built it in like a month, hand hammered the aluminum, and then went out and just destroyed everything. And then after they raced it, they went out to the salt flats to keep it was I can't remember if they were on Goodyears or Michelin's. I can't remember which tire they were on, but to keep the salt and not let it be turned over to another team, another tire owning company, they had to just keep running something. So they were out there in chassis CSX 2287 on the salt, running 200 and something miles an hour, and they averaged like I don't remember, it's over 200 miles an hour over 12 hours. But the guy had to get out and hand pump his own gas from a big drum of gasoline, right? And then fourth gear went out and they had to run it in third at just a higher RPM, and they could still go almost 200 miles an hour. Like, that's a better story. Well, no, getting off on that tangent, but the main reason I sat down to make this video is that dude in blue, David, he didn't mention Smokey and the Bandit. I don't know if he's seen it or not, or if he saw it and didn't understand it. That movie is the John Wick of its day. It was made by a stuntman. It was Hal Needham. He was a stuntman, stunt coordinator, second unit guy. This is his first movie he made as the main director, okay? Burt Reynolds signed on to it just because they were living together, right? And he was like, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. But you got to understand, this was really awesome. Burt drove a Trans Am. He had a 74 Trans Am, I think, for a while, 74 or 5. But like part of his thing was he drove a Trans Am for a while to get very used to that car and comfortable with that car. And then the movie is great. I mean, now it does have a special meaning to me, because when Bandit pulls that 77 Trans Am, it's really a 76 compared to a 77. They filmed the movie in late 76, which is actually kind of fun to see, because you have a lot of the 200th anniversary of the country stuff around. They're holding at the first of the movie, at the little truck rodeo celebration thing they're having in Atlanta. They have cups that have like 76 on them and stuff, because it's a big celebration for the 200th year. And we're coming up next year, 2026, on 250 years. So kind of a cool thing. So the movie's crazy. It's made almost 50 years ago. But Bullet started something. It set the standard for the time, but that was like 68. I'm telling you guys, there was a lot of car movies in the 70s. They're really good. Smokey and the Bandit is the gold standard for car movies. Cannonball Rally and Gumball Rally and that stuff, they're goofy. I really, really wish Brock Yates could have made the Cannonball Run movie he really wanted to make with other people, because I wanted something more serious, right? Something really serious. That would have been awesome. But the slapstick, comedy, goofy stuff, there's a lot of cars in them. Smokey and the Bandit is the car movie. That's it. That's it. There's other good car movies out there, sure. Smokey and the Bandit is the car movie. When that car, I think I started to say a second ago, I'm losing my train of thought a little bit, but when that 77 Trans Am pulls out of the back of the truck, the Kenworth W900, okay, when he pulls out of the back of that truck, I was 4 years old when I saw that. Now, I was 4 years old in '89, so the movie was already 12 years old. I became a car guy at that moment when that car pulls out the back of that truck. I became a car guy right then at 4 years old. If you don't know the movie, if you don't know the premise of the movie, at the time, Coors beer had an alcohol content that was too high to be sold east of a certain line, whatever. Mississippi River or whatever. I don't remember where the line was. So they didn't sell Coors out there. And two really rich guys, they're having a race. They want Coors brought. So they're making bets with truck drivers that they can't get to, like, from Atlanta to Texarkana back to Atlanta in 28 hours. At the time, it would have been a little more difficult, but not actually super difficult in real life, whatever. But 28 hours to get there and back with 400 cases of Coors. And so they can't get anybody to do it. They finally come to the Bandit. He's supposed to be the best. He's, one of the greatest truck drivers of all time. And this is also a time in the country where truck drivers were kind of revered as the last cowboys, the last outlaws that were out there getting things done, okay? And you have to put it in the context of the time, because we view truck drivers a lot different now than we did back then. And so they go to this truck driver Bandit, whose name in the movie is Bo Darble, and they're like, hey, we want you to do this. And he starts to be like, yeah, I think I can do it, whatever. But I need a car to block for the truck, basically to draw attention off the truck and get the cops to chase the car. And so they start looking at money, and he's like, need a speedy car. And he's flipping through more money. He goes, speedier than that. Great line. Great freaking line. Okay. So they dole out some money, and then he pulls up to Snowman's house, which is Cletus or Jerry Reed, right? Pulls up to Snowman's house because he needs Snowman to drive his truck. A lot of people say it's Snowman's truck. It's Bandit's truck. Pulls up there, gets Snowman to come out and drive the truck. Okay. $80,000 is what they're going to get. $80,000 in 1977. Metric buttload of cash. All right. Then they proceed to get to Texarkana without much issue. There's some good shots of the car driving. He runs from the cop a little bit through a little town, and it's some good stuff. There's a fourth wall break, which was flat out unheard of in 1977. Right. And it was like people were like mind blown at this. The car looks gorgeous. It's doing all the things right. It's black and gold with the big gold bird on the hood. Now a lot of people think that car is a little bit over the top and ostentatious. It looks great on screen. It really does. I'm actually up on the wall here. I've got a high school picture of me with the 77 Trans Am that I had. I sold it a few years back. I sold it before the prices went through the roof. That was a mistake. Anywho, then on the way back, they got the beer. On the way back, he finds a bride in the middle of the road, and he picks her up. And then it's just hilarity and insanity and amazing car stuff ensues from there on out, of getting from Texarkana back to Atlanta, and all the hijinks they get into. They ramp that car multiple times. They're sliding around corners, and it's not going into a corner slow or going around a corner in town and just spinning the tires. There's a little bit of that. But there's one point where they come around a corner 60, 70 miles an hour in this 77 Trans Am, which for the time those cars handled well. I know because I had one, and it handled a lot like more modern sporty-ish cars. Okay, my buddy actually had a very original low-mile 77 Corvette. I drove the Corvette. He drove my Trans Am. He was begging to trade. That Corvette was garbage. It did not handle well at all. The movie's great. Okay, they run that car through creeks. They run it all over stuff. They're going down the interstate at one point, and they're going up on-ramps and sliding through the grass beside the on-ramps and the medians and all over the place. And there's one point it's actually kind of funny. You can tell the car is really flexible because that car needed subframe connectors really bad. They cut a right corner really hard, and the right rear tire lifts off the ground because the car's like flexing. Guys, Smokey and the Bandit is the greatest car movie of all time. I won't hear any arguments for any other movie. It's the greatest car movie. If David from That Dude in Blue hasn't seen it, go get the 40th anniversary Blu-ray, okay? And don't watch any other ones. There's a reason to get this one. When they upgraded this thing to DVD, they redid all the sounds. They changed the sounds. It doesn't sound like a Pontiac engine anymore. It sounds like a small block Chevy because that's what they used. They changed a bunch of tire noises. They changed a ton of stuff in the sound effects, and it's not really that good. Okay? Get the 40th anniversary. Go into the settings, the 40th anniversary Blu-ray, go into the settings and change the sound from stereo to mono. I know that goes against everything you'd want to do because you probably surround sound, whatever you got for your movie stuff, right? The movie was filmed with mono sound. If you switch the sounds to mono, it reverts back to the original sound, the original sound effects, the motor and the engine noises and the tire screeching noises. It reverts to all of the original stuff. They added that in to the 40th anniversary movie. That's the one to get because it's the one that's closest to the original. That movie is amazing. It's what all car movies should live up to. I mean, half the movie is a chase scene. The original Gone in 60 Seconds has like a 40-minute chase scene, but that movie was made extraordinarily poorly. It's painful. It's physically painful to get to that chase scene to watch it. Smokey and the Bandit's hilarious. There's some racist jokes. Yeah, get over it. It's a great movie. Okay, I'm done. If you like this, subscribe, and maybe I'll rant some more here and there. My Arkansas Corner Carver series is not doing well, so I don't know if I'm going to continue those. I might throw them out here and there, but maybe back to working on cars and then doing car comparisons. I think that's what people want to see more than anything is car comparisons. So that's what we're going to do.